Welcome to Beyond the Basement, the complete Attack on Titan podcast. In this show, we're not just rewatching, we're going behind the scenes, deep into the anime story, unearthing intrigue, and exploring new theories about the Attack on Titan universe. The majority of each episode is spoiler-free. Then, after a warning, we'll take a few minutes to connect the dots with storylines from future episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, but don't forget, you can join us for the live broadcast Sunday nights on Facebook and watch every episode on YouTube. Links will be in the show notes. With that, let's get into the conversation.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's the sound we're looking for. Welcome to Beyond the Basement, the complete Attack on Titan podcast. This is episode 9, and I am one of your hosts. They call me Eric.
I'm Pete. Welcome.
I'm Rachel.
This is the Rachel, as I like to call her. Welcome once again to the best podcast on the internet, especially in the midst of an epidemic. Yeah, what we have to say tonight is incredibly relevant, and I'm going to start us off. We're going to first recap this episode. Definitely one of the most action-packed ones. Should get my my notes out before I actually do this recap. One of the most action-packed ones so far in terms of like amount of time that they spend, like letting you watch scouts kill Titans, because we meet Captain Levi basically.
Hallelujah.
So, all right. They mention this at the beginning. They do the recap and they talk about the walls. There's the 3 walls, and they talk about the scouts. And the scouts, up to this point, are a regiment of the military whose specific job was to go out and do reconnaissance. So it just so happens while they're out on reconnaissance, that's when the Colossal Titan shows back up and kicks in the walls. Very suspicious. So we meet at the beginning of this episode, we meet Erwin, Commander Erwin, Captain Levi, and I don't know if they say Hanji's name, but Hanji is the gal with the glasses.
Yeah, they do.
Hanji.
So we meet them, kind of hear them banter a little bit, and the narrator lady talks about how Titans are stronger than humanity many times over. We see a young soldier get eaten, and Commander Levi tries to come to his rescue, but he dies anyway. Then let's see here. Then Commander Erwin says, "Hey, it's time to fall back," because he's, we're going to retreat, so on and so forth. And we kind of get into this really interesting scenario really fast. We start with Eren inside the belly of the Titan that ate
Santa
him.
Claus Titan.
Yeah, so we kind of do this this episode's doing a lot of this interesting shifting. We'll get more into this, but this episode does a lot of interesting kind of time shifts. So it's hard to follow a little bit, but it does make sense. You got to just bear with us for a second here. So, all right, so the Levi and Erwin, all these commander guys, we meet them while they're outside the walls, and it's sort of like earlier that day, like before the Colossal Titan broke through, they're out doing scout stuff, and they learn of the attack, and they're like, we have to go back. So they're on their way back, and while they're on the way back, that is paralleling in time the last couple of episodes we just watched where Eren gets eaten, and Mikasa and the whole drama with Jean and the gas, they run out of gas, and all that stuff is going on. Eren turns into a Titan. All that happens while the scouts are out and about. And so the scouts are now on their way back, and the drama has unfolded. So then we cut back to present time, Eren, and Eren's having a memory of being inside the belly of this Titan, and there's bodies, and it's disgusting. Then he sort of starts to come to, and we see Armin's shocked face, and there's a bunch of cannons and soldiers and blades all pointed at him, and he doesn't know why the frick that's going on. And we see a character we've seen before. We see the bearded guy, the cowardly dude. Then it transitions again, and we go to a nearby neighborhood where we see some of the other fresh scouts, fresh recruits, friends of Eren's from cadet training, and they are shooting the breeze and man, what the heck happened? They're discussing what just happened in Trost. Most of them did not see Eren transform into a Titan. Did not know what the heck happened. Jean did. So that's important. Then we cut to another scene where we see Hane's friendly face. He's from kind of earlier episodes. He's the soldier that saved Eren and Mikasa.
And Armin, too.
And Armin, yeah. Well, no, Armin wasn't there.
He wasn't there. Okay, sorry.
Then we cut back to this crazy scene where Eren is like, why am I here? Why am I in trouble? And we realize that they're under threat. We're going to kill you. And we basically come to understand that the soldiers and everybody surrounding them, because they're like, Eren, you're one of them, you're Titan, tell us who you are, otherwise we're going to kill you and your friends. Mm-hmm. Then as they go, Eren says, I'm a human, and they're like, okay, great, now we're going to kill you. So as he goes to drop his hand, we get this crazy, just spoiler-filled flashback Spoilers are for later. Just remember that. And we see Grisha Yeager, Aaron's dad, again, kind of talking to him, saying some cryptic stuff. We kind of get to see a little bit more of the moment where Eren had his weird dream thing where he receives the key. Then, yeah, we'll get into it. Anyway, that happens. The whole flashback thing is happening like in slow-mo, like while the cannons are coming down, and Eren realizes that he has this like Titan power where he can like become a Titan basically, or has something like that. And in the moment, he like dashes back to his friends as they're all about to die and like transforms into a Titan and saves them at the last second. And the episode ends with a half transformed Eren Titan with like an eyeball hanging out and like a crazy skull thing. And they're like, is he dead? What the heck just happened?
Yeah.
So good job, writers of the
Mikasa.
show, building this. This episode just like builds a ton and then ends with like the most like, well,
It's
what
like,
the frick just
it's like
happened?
you just smack into a wall and your nose starts bleeding and then it's over.
What was the guy? Remember we used to watch the not The Voice, the America's Got Talent. What just happened?
Oh, Mel B.
Mel B.
What
I feel
just
like
happened?
I say that every episode of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, this episode, it just crazy cliffhanger. It just hangs harder than Jeffrey Epstein. Just really.
Just no footage,
It just
no guards.
It just hits you real hard. And
Oh man.
man, what a great way to make you want more is to like give you just enough. Like, hey, tease something for a really long time and then give them just enough and then say, hey, next time I'll give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
What's neat about this episode too is it's very good to watch. Obviously the first time, and this is why we're here to kind of help you along that if you're a first timer. But it's also really good to watch after you've watched all 3
my
seasons.
gosh.
You go back and you watch and you're like,
This
mind blown.
This episode had stuff that none of us
Loaded baked
remembered
potato.
really that was in this episode. It's information we know because we've seen it. But anyway, again, we'll say that for spoilers.
Episode 9, the whereabouts of the left arm, or where the left arm went, depending on your translation.
I like the
interesting.
whereabouts of his left arm. That's
They show
I
that
like
cut
that
a couple of times too of Aaron's arm falling out of the Titan's mouth as he like chomps him down.
They don't really tell you where it is either.
No.
They
a
name
lying
it that, but
episode
then they
name.
don't tell you where it is.
Anyway, so the beginning of this episode, we meet. We've already actually seen these characters. I don't think they're named in the
Right.
previous episodes. So we meet Commander Erwin, this blonde guy, Captain Levi,
He's for sure named.
who's the baddest of the bad. He's my spirit animal. I wish to be him one day.
Yeah.
And then we have Hanji,
Yeah.
who's the lady with the glasses. She's insane, mildly insane.
Yeah.
Also kind of a genius and is really obsessed with discovering new things about the Titans. So we'll get to know those characters pretty well in the coming seasons. You're going to like all of them, but just they're wonderful. They kind of give you this quick introduction to them here, which again, if you're the first time through, you don't know why they're important, but you'll find out shortly.
Erwin is, we've actually, we've not just seen him before, but we saw him in the very first Scouts expedition mission.
Right.
He was a subordinate, and his commander resigns. Keith Sades goes to go train cadets because he's too overwhelmed with PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And now we know who stepped up in the last 5 years. It was Commander Erwin. So now he's a commander over the Scouts, and he's got his trusty, kind of side people, Levi and Hanji.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is a great meme area because it's like who we see ourselves as is like Captain Levi, and who we really are is like Hanji, who's awesome, but also off her rocker and hilarious.
Mildly insane. So we know she's crazy partially because she says right here is that so again, this little scene that we're watching where we meet these, kind of high ranking officers, we meet them and we realize that this is like some hours before the Colossal Titan has staged that second attack.
In
Trost
one
has
of the
broken through.
episodes before that all goes down, they were like having their graduation before, and the scouts ride through. And I thought originally that they were coming to celebrate them graduating, but they were actually leaving.
on a mission.
On their mission.
Yeah.
They
So
went on
they're-
an expedition mission the same day.
Yeah. So they note here that the scouts do this expedition. Their main job is to go on reconnaissance and to go find out new information. Hanji, you'll find out, again, it's not like a spoiler, you'll find out more that she's sort of she's the brains of the operation. She's very interested in studying Titans.
She's
She wants
scientific.
to capture one. She actually says here, she's like, I hope we bag an abnormal Titan. And then
I will
Levi's
burst
like,
with joy and tears if we can bag an abnormal so I can study it and learn all its secrets.
Yeah.
She's so crazy.
And Levi says, I think we already found the most abnormal
right here.
Right here, yeah.
Good grief. Dropping bombs on her.
Well, she's like, where? And she looks around.
Yeah, they say something pretty interesting here. They say that, before the scouts, it was their job to go beyond the walls and try to, like,
scout, find reconnaissance, find out stuff about
information, or maybe even, like, build a little city outside the walls or kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously, since they lost the first wall, they've all had to retreat. So now their job is to go out and kind of set up bases of operation try to reclaim that first wall. And
is it Wall Maria?
Yeah,
I was getting confused. Wall Maria is the outermost one.
Yeah.
So Wall Maria territory.
That's where they go into. Is that wall.
The wild area they used to go out to was outside the walls. Now it's within the walls, but no one's there anymore. It's just Titans, so it's still very dangerous. Yeah. But in the last 5 years, we've studied a bunch because of the scouts. They said they've learned a ton. They've developed new information, and now death rates actually have only dropped to 30%, which is
still insane.
1 in 3 chance of dying every time you go out. But
right
really
after
good.
They say that, they cut to a guy being munched on.
Yeah, and this is a great scene because it kind of shows the. I feel like this guy represents humanity. This guy represents like the spirit of humans.
Certainly the spirit of the he represents what's right about humanity. He's got the Eren-esque hope and I don't know how you describe it, but he has the mission of we're going to kill all of you and the hope of my life will not be in vain. Like we're going to make humanity will make humanity great again. It's kind of the
and it's kind of a Independence Day feel.
Totally.
Like when all is said and done, humans were like, we're tough mothers. Like, we'll try to kill you. We'll survive. We'll be the last one standing. Aliens gonna try to wipe us out. Good luck, buddy. We got Farmer Bill over here gonna kill you. We all kind of bind together in the face of a united enemy. And so you got these Titans are united enemy, and so all of humanity has come together, right? Race doesn't matter anymore. Ethnicity doesn't matter anymore. Nations don't matter anymore.
People barely know what it is, yeah.
Right. Who cares about all that stuff? All that stuff's dumb in comparison to we're all one. We're all human, right?
Yep.
Which is a really awesome message. It sucks we have to find it out after a terrible tragedy, but we've got this unified message. And this human disguised as a scout is getting eaten in this scene, and he's saying, like, gorge yourself while you still can, because guess what? We'll be the last one standing. Humanity will survive.
And then he like stabs the Titan in the face with his broken off sword.
Yeah. That's
and he's
how,
like, just wait.
That's how we do. Like with our dying breath, we'll own you. It's pretty amazing. And his hope.
Well, his hope is Captain Levi.
Yeah, he
Captain
says,
Levi.
just wait till Levi gets here.
So Levi shows up and does Levi things, which includes what's your note say?
It says Levi is the baddest of all the asses.
Yeah,
indeed he is. So we meet Levi. He's not a large man, but is incredibly skilled with the blades, and so he comes and messes up the Titan who's chomping on the guy we just saw.
He's everything this guy hoped for. This guy, he shows up, he just shreds Titans. He kills 2 of them immediately.
He does it with great twirls and
like
style.
finesse.
Yeah,
beautiful violence.
It's like his art. His art is slashing through Titan flesh.
Yeah, and it's funny because he actually doesn't like getting messy. He says,
he tries to keep himself clean.
But he's like still murdering everybody. And you're like, okay, you're awesome. And so this humanity. Their hope is not obviously in the previous generation's way of doing things because it all failed. Their hope is in the next generation of cadets, the next generation of leaders. Obviously, we've got Erwin, the last Keith Sadie's, he failed. We got Erwin, the new leadership. He's going to go far. We got Captain Levi. We got these new cadets. This is where our hope is. Humanity's got another chance, is what he's saying. Captain Levi shows up and vindicates that chance.
Yeah. So he shows up and then he kills his Titan. He's got that dude. And then 3 more Titans shows up, and he tells
Petra to go down and take care of the guy.
I think the guy who's dying, his name was Petra, right?
No, that's her name. The girl. Petra's a female name because anyway.
Continue.
Anyway, he tells Petra to go down and take care of their fallen comrade, and then he tells the other 2, these 2 are mine. Go take care of that other one.
Yeah, I'll take the rest of them. Don't even worry about it.
The 2 on the left are mine.
Yeah, you 3 take care of that guy, and I got the rest of them basically, which is hilarious. But also, again, his technique, like his thought process, like he's clearly like not just like advanced. Like he's a good soldier, he's special, he's like unique. He has a unique ability to kill Titans, which sounds similar to someone else who I will not name.
They do name his full name.
Levi. Oh, they do?
They do.
Okay.
So you can connect that dot.
Okay, so try not to do any spoiler here, because this is not a spoiler, but correct. If you are observant, you will notice that Levi's last name is Ackerman. and Mikasa's last name is also Ackerman.
And they're both incredibly gifted.
And they're both incredibly gifted at killing Titans. So there seems to be a connection there, which, to be honest, there's not much of a spoiler beyond that because, anyway.
That's all we got.
So they're both
now.
incredibly skilled, naturally gifted at murdering Titans, which is great.
Great asset.
That we have a friend, now we've got a friend in the Titan killing business.
You got a friend in the Titan killing business.
So
the Ackermans.
He's out there murdering Titans. He kills these two with incredible ease and beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets the blood on him. He's like, oh, I got the blood on me. Oh, I hate making a mess.
Gross.
Right? And then he
goes back to his dying soldier who was getting munched in half earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And this really great scene happens right here where you can tell he's a good leader. He's a good leader because he does the thing he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to go touch a bloody, dying guy, right? But this guy's got a bloody hand, and he asks the same question that the soldier asked in the beginning of the show, themes that are coming back up.
The same question that Armin asks, the same question that kind of everybody who's a soldier, at least,
they keep asking this question.
Did I make a difference?
Was I helpful?
Was I helpful?
Right? I don't want to die without helping mankind, he says. And without missing a beat, Captain Levi grabs his bloody hand and says, you did a great job, soldier. This is exactly what every man needs to hear, right?
He tells them the Titans will be eradicated.
The torch will be carried on by me. I swear on my life.
Yep. So there's this is such a cool part in the show. Again, the way that they treat human life in wartime is basically what's kind of going on here. You have the kind of numbers game of, 30,000 died or 200,000 people died. And it's sort of this, that's such a big, we can't connect with that, but this one soldier dying in front of you, you can connect with that because his name, you see his face, you watch his final moments, and you get both perspective of the mass tragedy of all these people dying and the individual tragedy of somebody giving their life for this cause, and everybody has that same hope. All the soldiers anyway are please let it be. The scouts, please let it be that I signed up to take this risk. I knew what I was getting into. I knew I wanted to help. I just want to die knowing that my life made a difference, which is pretty profound, actually.
That's what we all want. I mean, all of us, we get jobs, we work 9 to 5s we hate because we want to make a difference. We want something to do that helps humanity go forward. We want our life to be meaningful and purposeful. And here, this guy's last dying wish is just did I do something good?
Yeah.
Looking for that affirmation.
So at this point, Erwin shows up and is like, hey, we got to head back. And Levi kind of protests and is like, we're not done here. Is this just another kind of failed mission, basically? He's like, no, we have to head back. Does he make it clear that the attack has happened? Or I can't remember how
he says the Titans are swarming at the wall just like 5 years ago. Something must be going down. I wouldn't be surprised if the walls are already broken down.
Yeah. So Erwin has some information and has a pretty strong hunch as to what this information means. So you'll get to hear more of that kind of thinking from Erwin in later episodes. So then we cut to just the transition of this episode are interesting.
It's a little bit confusing.
It's a little confusing. So keep in mind what we just watched, Levi killing Titans, Erwin, all this stuff is happening basically in parallel with what we just saw of the last 3 episodes or so. So the battle for Trost.
Yeah, they kind of summarize, okay, here's what the scouts were doing while all this was happening.
Yeah, exactly. So meanwhile over here. And so then the episode sort of gives us a little reminder of what just happened, what just happened is the walls got broken in, Titans invaded, scouts went to go defend, Eren gets eaten in the process of that battle as they're trying to evacuate Trost. After the appearance of the Colossal Titan, Eren gets eaten, Eren transforms into a Titan himself, kills a bunch of other Titans, and all that was kind of going on, in the hours while the scouts were on their way back. They find out they're headed on their way back. So we get to this super revealing / again, this is a part I totally forgot was even there. We get to this part where it cuts to Eren and we get the slow-mo of his arm, the left arm, the whereabouts.
Falling.
They show Eren disappearing and Armin, the reflection in Armin's eyes of Eren disappearing, and then it flips to Eren going inside,
this is Eren's
watching his arm get chomped off and then sliding down.
So so Eren was missing for 2.5 episodes or more, right? We thought he was dead. I was convinced watching this first time that he was not the main character anymore, and then he shows back up, and I'm like, oh, okay, wait, no, there's something. This is interesting, and this episode we find out what he was doing all while he was missing that whole time. Well, Eren, where were you? I was in a Titan stomach.
In the belly of a rotting Titan. Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
It is, as far as like an animation
It's
goes,
pretty brutal. There's
is-
like human bits everywhere.
Yeah. A steamy, hot Titan stomach acid flesh.
Basically just like a bowl of tomato soup with some humans in it.
Yeah. And like this, it sucks because they're all soldiers, and he even like he himself has memories of being being a cadet. And
With some of them, I think probably.
He like
and then
recognizes
somebody
them.
talks.
Somebody's asking for their mom. He has
Mhm.
flashbacks of his mom. It's a pretty brutal scene.
Yeah.
And then
But
she like drowns
The
in the
important
stomach
part
acid.
here, though, I think, it's gross,
It was
is that in this scene, Eren, everyone's giving up and dying, right?
Mhm.
And Eren has this indomitable will, and he's like, "This is not how I'm gonna die. No,
Mhm.
I made in his heart of hearts, Eren made a promise on that boat. I'm gonna kill every single last one of you Titans. You killed my mom. You killed my friends.
Mhm.
All this terrible things happened because
Yeah.
of you. I'm gonna kill you all."
Yeah. I'm
And
not going to die like this. I'm
he
not going to
gets-
die in here.
He gets even more intense if that's possible for Eren.
and he's
he-
like reaching up with his left arm that has nothing. It's just a bloody stub.
and he
Uh-huh.
says, "I'm gonna kill you all with my bare hands." And in that
Plural.
moment, bing, lightning strikes. Boom!
And a
Eren
gigantic arm.
transforms
An arm pot
into a Titan.
Yeah, the bearded Titan.
Out of Santa
what a
Titan.
scene, yeah.
Big gigantic arm.
and he has this inner dialogue going on,
Yeah.
which we know.
Well, he says we were different. We're different this time. So, because remember, we have to go back a few episodes.
Yeah.
Eren just got eaten, and at this point, Eren was really hopeful going into this battle for
We all
Trost.
were.
Right.
Everybody was. They were like, no, we know more now. We're trained now. I'm ready. This is Eren's like, this is my destiny. I'm gonna go kill Titans, and that's what he's saying to himself while he's in the stomach. He's kind of has this. He's bordering on despair again, but he's like, why did it happen this way? We were supposed to be ready. We read all the books. We had all the knowledge. Oh yeah, this one was one of the people's like, help, it's hot
Mhm.
in the belly.
Yeah, the
It's really
girl.
scary.
The girl says that it's so hot in here.
Anyway, so he's like, yeah, I'll kill them all.
Yeah, and he gets, as he's transformed into this murderous, rage-filled aggro, Titan, this Titan killing machine, and we see him, and this is right before he found Mikasa in the alley.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a Titan, he's screaming and he's murdering Titans left and right, and we see the very first Titan he sees, and he screams in his inner dialogue, and he's saying, I'll kill you all, and he says, I'll drive you all out. This isn't your world.
Yeah.
And
Dang.
so
You
I know
don't
it's something
belong
really
here.
deep. So, and I think that, I don't know if that's a spoiler related or not, but I think what he's basically saying is this world belongs to us, right?
Mhm.
This is our time. This is our world.
Yeah.
You're the invaders here.
But now he possesses a real tool
To
that he might actually
actually-
be able to do that.
He might actually be able to do that. Yeah.
Humanity's last hope, basically.
Yeah. And so he's saying, I'll kill them all. I'll kill them all. And then we see him snap from that Titan, fusion.
Punching the heads off of Titans.
Screaming,
So
I'll
good.
kill them all.
Legit.
To the sleepy trance he's in after he's been pulled out of the Titan corpse, after he saves everybody, after the Mikasa thing happens, everyone gets out of the bell tower, all the people get the gas. After all that happens, he's kind of been dreaming about that. So recap, now we're brought to current time, and Armin is holding him, and Mikasa's right there next to him, and
he
Eren's
has this
saying
weird smile
in
on
like
his
a drunk
face.
trance.
He utters the words, I'll kill them
I'll kill
all.
them all.
Like, speaking of the Titans, we know that. Eren's friends know that.
However,
Hmm.
sounds really bad when
He
you're
says,
walking
I'll
around
destroy
saying,
them all.
I'll
Actually.
destroy them
Yeah.
all. And there's a ton of guards around him. And everyone who's here just saw him come out of the enemy.
Mhm.
We hated Titans. Titans kill humans. What the heck? And now
Mhm.
your boy just got pulled out of there. So we have a scene now of Eren, who's not sure what's going on. It seems like he's got amnesia. Armin's right there like, Eren, what's going on, bro? Tell me what's going on.
Tell me you're human. Tell me you're on the good side. Yeah.
And then Mikasa standing in between, protecting Eren, doing
Doing
what Mikasa does.
does.
And then all of the guards we just saw your boy get pulled out of a Titan. We're going to freaking kill him. He's obviously a traitorous spy, a
And
monster.
re-enters the cowardly bearded man.
Yeah, it's the same guy that we saw from a few episodes ago, the one who stopped all the gas from being transferred out to the
To try and
cadets.
save his own life. Just because he's
And
so scared.
he obviously has terrible motives, and he is freaking out
Yeah.
massively. He's
Yeah.
shaking visibly.
Clearly,
He's
a Garrison
screaming
guy.
at everyone.
Are you a human? Is what he asks. Are you
a human or are you Titan?
Yeah.
And they mention one of the soldiers, because there's this circle of soldiers, both with their blades. There's cannons pointing at him, like they're in serious trouble here, and they're questioning Eren, like, are you human? One of the soldiers mentions like, oh, did you hear that? He said he's going to destroy us all. Not much else you can make of that.
Yeah, we gotta kill this guy right now.
Straight up, like, just CNNing these guys, just like taking his real intent and cutting it out and being like, no, he's clearly talking about humans, even though he's talking about humans.
So we hear Eren utter like these words. Are they terrified of me? Because he's still not even sure what's happening. He's
super confused. He doesn't know what's going on.
And we jump right from this to what was happening just inside the wall. Yeah. With Connie and John and
it's kind of like the battle for Trost is over.
Oh yeah, they're all trying to figure out what's
the scouts, everybody's on. Basically the soldiers, the military is kind of regrouped inside the walls where it's like their safety. So like the fresh scouts, friends of Eren's, the people we've seen for most of this show are kind of off like shooting the breeze, like talking to each other, like sort of debriefing about what just happened. Getting out of Trost, right? And most of them just got saved
and
because
Connie's like, oh yeah, we got the gas. We couldn't believe we couldn't get out of there. And they're all like, wow, that was really close. And they pan over to John because like, where's Mikasa?
He's just like staring at the ground.
John's got like this 1,000-yard stare, like, bro, you don't even know what I've seen.
You don't know what I just saw.
You can't know the things I've
seen. He's been told to like shut up about what just happened, which makes sense because like look at the fear that could happen.
Right.
But it made me think, if they won't tell you about this, what else
aren't they telling you?
What else? Yeah. So that theme has already begun.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it before on this show that there's already kind of suspicions about what's going on in the interior. That we've seen that one general guy who lives in luxury. Lord Wald and Pixis, General Pixis. That's what I didn't think of. They're having their conversation. We get this idea that inside the walls may be kind of corrupt. At the very least, it is suspicious.
Yeah.
And should be under suspicion.
Yeah.
There's a mix, like
something
in real life.
Something fishy is going on.
Yeah. Like in real life, like in real politics, there's a mix of people at the higher end of, military and politics that seem to be good-natured and have right intents, and those who do not.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Eren actually asked himself here, he's like, why are the blades pointed at us? Which is an interesting thing. Just like he genuinely doesn't know what's going on. And then we cut to the scene with John, and he says, I can't say what I saw, and he kind of has this, like, it's not really clear if it's all inner dialogue or if he's saying it out loud, but he's like, I can't really say what I saw. He's like, but what do these people think? What are these military, like, I don't even know if he's fully aware that they're over there, like, threatening to kill Eren right now, but he knows Eren, Mikasa, Armin aren't there with him now.
Yeah. And
they're in the custody, basically.
Yeah.
And he's, like, saying to himself or whatever, like, what do they think is going to happen? Word's going to get out. Like some people saw this.
People saw.
You can't sit on that kind of information.
You can't not tell people about it.
But it seems like they intend to.
But they're
trying.
This is transformational information about Titans that we've never heard before. That a human could transform into a Titan
and back.
What in the world, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately we don't get any more answers right this second. We jump right from this
to the Hana's
to a scene on the garrison, and
where they're talking about the Vanguard, which is all these people.
Yeah. The terms kind of get confusing in the subbed version, which is what we watch. The scouts, right, are an entire like division of the military, but even within the scouts, depending on what your kind of position is, the Vanguard is, in this case, they're using as like a forward-facing unit. But that in American military, that's not always the case. Vanguard is actually like a rear-facing unit, supporting
they're
unit.
Talking about, they're not talking about the scouts. I don't think they're talking about when they all got their orders in the yard. The cadets.
Yeah.
There was a Vanguard unit, which was Mikasa and Armin and Eren and all those people. And so they're talking about
the guy on the wall is like thinking about his friends and wondering how they all are.
Yeah, because it sounded like they got pretty jacked up, which they did. They almost only a few of them barely made it out because of the whole gas situation.
Most of them died.
And Hannes, the guy, one of the guards turns and he asks Hannes, and he says, didn't you save some kids, from Titans years ago? And they all became cadets?
Aren't they all in the Vanguard?
Aren't they all in the Vanguard? He's like, yeah, bro, thanks for bringing that up, actually.
It's like, oh, sorry, I don't know why I said that.
Hey, didn't you watch that lady die along the
But then he says, I'm not worried about them. One of them has an unreasonable will to survive. One is an amazing soldier, and the other one's a certifiable genius.
Yeah. We go right back to their strengths, remember? Because Armin has the brains, doesn't have the courage, right? Mikasa has the brawn, doesn't have that indomitable drive, that will, right? And then Eren can't see the future, for anything.
He doesn't plan.
But
super
he has
impulsive.
this will
He
that
can't be
cannot
stopped.
be beaten, bro.
Yeah.
Like all those three combined, the three amigos, they become this great force.
Yeah, he says they know what he says. I'm not worried about them because they know what it takes to survive.
Yeah.
He's seen them as children and then grow up into cadets and knows that they have there's something special about these ones.
Little does he know right now, they're all staring down
Meanwhile,
cannon fire because Eren just emerged from a Titan corpse.
yeah.
And everyone saw it, and everyone knows what's going on. Everyone's saw what happened, except for Eren. Eren has no idea what's going on. He's in this fog.
He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember.
He's confused.
He's done this. He's in like it's almost like
He's in a haze of sorts.
Temporary
like
amnesia.
when you get drunk, hangover.
He's got
a Titan
Hungover.
hangover.
he has a hazy Titan hangover.
And whenever I'm hungover, I always say I'm gonna kill them all the time. No, I don't know what the heck.
It's not something that normally happens. So that scene with Hannes exists just to reinforce, like, I know they do what it takes to survive. And then it cuts back to the bearded guy, and now he's shouting at Eren, Mikasa, and he's saying
like
that they're all
screaming.
traitors. Actually, the three of them. Like, you've been and died. He's like, despite the fact that you are, the Majesty soldiers, like, listen, I know what's in my power to do, and I know that you're a threat, and like, tell us, are you human or are you not? And again, this will become clear. I think the next episode starts to clear this part up as well. Who knows what information, just like in any show with a lot of intrigue, is pretty important. It's not clear. Well, I think it is clear at this part maybe. Erwin, Hanji, Levi, like top military guys, they're on their way back right now. They don't know that somebody who has the power to transform into a Titan was just captured. If they were there, they wouldn't be messing around. You'd imagine these guys, Hanji especially, would be like, no, I want to learn all about this. Like, they're not going to just blow this guy up. Like,
they risk their lives on the daily just to get a little bit of information. And those little bit of information, right, has saved millions or thousands of lives at least, because they've dropped their casualty rate from like 100% to like 30%, right? And we know in war, information is crucial. That's why spies were so important, communication's so important, right? And here's this cowardly kind of idiot. A
mid-level ranking guy who, was just saved his own life, put everyone at risk in this other battle, saved his own life, comes back, kind of retakes his commanders, like,
he legit got a bunch of people killed because he made terrible decisions, and they're letting him be in charge of this decision, which is not.
And I'm
pretty
pretty sure
idea.
he's Garrison, right? He has the roses on his back.
He's Garrison.
So he's not a scout. He doesn't have this like oath and this like dedication to humanity. And here he is, kind of exercising his power that he probably doesn't have the power to, like, he shouldn't be doing in the first place.
Like, hey, the first breakthrough, of information and knowledge we've ever had about Titans, let's kill it. Yeah. Let's go ahead and kill it. And it makes
the best
sense.
possible advantage we have, fighting fire with fire. Let's just stomp it out.
But it makes sense because people are always afraid of the things they don't understand.
Yeah. So he tells him, he says, I've seen you in your true form. Like, I'll kill you. Tell us who you are. You're all treason despite being Your Majesty's soldiers. And then Mikasa steps up and is like, yeah, all right, fine. You're going to have to get through me. And
I'll kill you all.
I'll kill you all.
I'll kill you all.
And I will actually cut you.
And at this point, we cut to Bearded Guy's...
she pulls out her swords.
Secondary. I don't know who this lady is with the gray hair, but she's like...
She's a little bit more calm and rational.
Yeah. She's like, that's Mikasa Ackerman. She was put into the elite soldiers right out of cadets. She has the power of 100 soldiers.
She's equal
to 100 soldiers.
It'd be terrible
by
to lose
herself.
Her.
Yeah, it would be terrible to lose her. So we cut back to Eren, and he's still asking himself questions like, how did I get here? Did I kill people? Like, why are they looking at me like I'm a monster? Like, what is about to go on?
And then he looks down.
Yeah, and he looks at it, he's like, that was all a dream. What just happened? That was all a dream or something.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, my arm, my sleeve is gone, or if my sleeve is still there, and he looks down and the sleeve is not there. He's like, my hand grew back, and like, he doesn't even fully comprehend what just happened. How could he answer for himself?
It's like, have you ever like woken up in the middle of a deep sleep and people are asking you questions and you have no idea, and so your brain is taking a second to like, okay,
what even is my name?
I'm on the earth. I'm a human. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I think
have a pulse.
Yeah, like you. What year is it? Sometimes you wake up and you're like,
where am I?
Yeah,
you don't even know what's
I'm
going
in
on.
my own bed. Okay.
In a deep sleep, and this is exactly what's happened. He was in this drunken stupor haze, and they've like shooken him out, and he has no idea what just happened. He's trying to put the pieces back together in his brain of what's happened, so he can actually answer. And they're demanding answers at the risk of cannon fire and death.
Yeah. So he kind of realizes what's going on, at least somewhat. They're asking him, like, are you human or are you a monster? What are you? And he goes, man, like, not just my life. Like, is this how it ends? Like, am I going to be killed by people?
Yeah.
Not Titans.
Am I
like
risking
yeah.
Eren, Armin and
Yeah.
Mikasa?
And he looks around at Armin and Mikasa. He's like, it's not just my life that's on the line. It's their life that's on the line here too. And
he goes through like a thought process and he says,
he declares he's human.
He says, I've always been one of you. Like in his heart of hearts, he questioned for a second and he realizes, like, no, I freaking hate Titans.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill me some Titans. He gets his like will back and he's like, no. I'm one of you through and through. I don't know what just happened. I have not become the thing that I've sworn to destroy. Like
I am human.
I am a human.
I'm human.
So they say, oh, so you say.
Yeah. So the general guy sort of under his breath is like, so you say.
And then he drops this line.
What a jerk.
When push comes to shove, we're all monsters. And I think it's like crazy, but it also like some of that's true, right? Because look around right now, especially there's this crazy coronavirus thing going on. Mm-hmm. There's a panic taking over a lot of places. And there are people who are turning into monsters, people who are hoarding all of the toilet paper.
And meat.
Just the Chinese government being like, oh, they had information about this virus. And like, oh, we're going to keep it to try and save ourselves. Like,
to make yourself look better. Yeah, I'm not just going to risk everybody else's life.
Yeah.
And people who are fighting over, items at the store, people who are just thinking about themselves, almost like, man, when that fight happens, right? Things get crazy. Mikasa said, when a fight happens, like everything falls apart, just come find me. The same thing is kind of true. What he's saying here, he's saying like when push comes to shove, when you don't have any, comforts anymore, when all of your
stability
gets taken away, everyone kind of becomes monsters, right? But this is exactly the opposite of what Eren has fought for this entire show.
Yep.
And he's saying no. Like I heard a quote actually, I read it on Twitter today, and he said, "If you lose all your morals in the midst of a panic, you never had any to begin with."
Yeah, it's true.
It's fairly true.
If we have something that's beyond just our little material world, we have something that's like a deep-seated belief, right? Our worldview that is shaped, and we cling to that worldview and we teach that to our children and we're raised with that worldview, then when things go crazy, we still hold tight to that.
Yep.
When you've just kind of made your life up of material wealth and it's all about how you feel, when you start feeling bad, well, where's your morals? Where do you obtain those things from? And that's when the bad people turn into bad people. They've just been wearing masks this whole time, right? And so he's saying like, people are all crazy. We do what we need to survive. And he's kind of like putting this like alternate like worldview out there. And he's saying, look, we're all just monsters down underneath and push comes to shove.
He has a very pessimistic, dark view of
what
humanity.
What a terrible thing for an officer in the military to be saying right now.
Yeah, this scene juxtaposes two ethos of actual humanity, and definitely in the show. One, on the one side, you have Eren, who sees humanity, has lived in it. It's like for all of its flaws, like he lived in the poor district. Like he basically he understands. Yeah. He's been beaten up.
The ghetto.
He's been like
seen all of his friends die.
He saw like Eren's been through a lot, and Eren sees humanity and says, "This is worth saving."
Yeah,
it's not just I want revenge for my mother or something like that. It's like we humanity should not. We are made for more than just living inside the walls like cattle.
We're more than just livestock.
We're worth fighting for.
Yeah,
good apples, bad apples alike. Eren has this sense of like, no, we must we're going to save humanity. The other ethos is we're all monsters anyway. Therefore, I'm going to embrace my monster now and just do it and not feel bad about it. And just it's optimism and pessimism about humanity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Both working with the same set of facts, coming to two different conclusions. Yeah. And it really does beg the question again, back to reality. All right, there's a virus going around. We're all concerned for the safety specifically of older people, so on and so forth. But take a step back for a second and ask yourself a fundamental question: is humanity worth saving? Are people actually worth saving? Because Harvey Weinstein, supposedly, I just heard he might have coronavirus. Somebody out there, a lot of people out there are like, oh, good, right?
Right.
Great. Harvey Weinstein, hopefully it takes him. He's older. Yeah. He's at risk. Is humanity worth saving? By and large, the virus is happening. Are we all like, is it really? Because people are monsters. People do sexually deviant stuff. People do heinous crimes and military crimes, so on and so forth. Yeah. You have and like we talked about earlier, within the the government here, in Attack on Titan, they've got the center, the interior. That's what I'm trying to say.
The corrupt.
Some of them are clearly corrupt and
feasting.
Powerful. Yeah, they have sex with the underage girls.
Because they were going to sell Mikasa to them.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's bad stuff going on. Is humanity worth saving? This is an incredibly deep. This is one of the threads. One of these things that makes a show like worth
really
having
good.
A show like this about. And this is the point where those two ethos like combat each other directly. Like this is an episode where, yeah, it's about what's happening in the episode, but again, like I said, it's about something bigger. It's painting a picture. It's painting a philosophical picture about two different ways of looking at the world. Now, Eren's answer is my answer, which I think should be all of our answers, which is yes, good and bad. I'm going to fight for you anyway. I want you to have a second chance away from, the judgment of these titans or whatever. And so anyway, sorry, we need to get back to this. I'm kind of off here, but
we want to fight for the good.
Yeah.
And the bad comes with it, but we fight for the good. We do everything we can to destroy the bad, but we fight for the good because there's good in people. There's good in people. There's monsters in all of us, but there's also something good in all of us.
Yeah,
and we need to speak to that. We need to call that out. We need to embody that. We need to teach our children that. We need to raise that up in the future generations and not just live like, we're all just monsters. Just do whatever you want. Every man do what's right in his own eyes. Like, no, there's something greater that we're going to fight for.
Yep.
And we just saw earlier in Captain Levi, his men's going to die. Well, shucks, we lost another one. No, he gets down on his knees and he grabs him and he says,
made a difference.
Your life was important, and that alone gives hope to all of his men. Now all of his men want to fight for him because he's a good leader, right?
Yeah.
Versus who wants to fight for this crazy guy, right?
Yeah.
So we get back to the scene and there's these two things that are at each other's throats. And you've got the guy with all the power who's a terrible leader, and you've got Eren who has a belief that's inspired so many cadets right now. And Eren says like, no,
he just saved a bunch of lives.
I'm one of you, right?
This guy's not trying to figure it. This guy doesn't want the facts. This guy doesn't want to know what's going on. He's like, nope, you are just dangerous. We're going to kill you.
Raises his hand.
Even after he declares I'm a human.
And begins to...
So he goes to raise his hand. To give the signal to let the cannons drop and all that jazz. And then we get another flashback. Welcome to anime.
The 1 second that lasts for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and this is
actually like that scene in Inception, where like time the
They're
further down
dreaming,
the
dreaming,
dream,
dreaming,
and time goes way like that guy's falling. The van is falling backwards in the river for like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
But this flashback though, we've already seen a little bit of it in a previous episode. This is just expanding upon that.
Well, Mikasa grabs Eren and then the key.
Yeah, Mikasa grabs Eren. And out of Eren's shirt slips the necklace that he wears with the key, which we know is the key to the cellar. We know that from episode 2, episode 3?
2, I think.
Episode 2, I'm pretty sure. And he sees that key and it like stirs
Flashes.
he has this flash. Stirs his memory.
It's Grish's key. He said, get back to the basement, right?
So I wrote a bunch of these lines down. So we're going to read these lines basically verbatim. You wrote them all down. Can I just read your copy? Is it complete?
I wrote down everything Grisha said.
It goes back to the scene where somewhere in between the Titans invading the first
I'm gonna
wall,
go a little further back than that.
Okay.
And where they are now, right before they were send out the 30,000 purge, Grisha came back.
Well, no, it cuts even further back than that. The first flashback he has is to episode 1. He's a little boy and his father's about to leave the house, and he says, "Behave while I'm gone, because when I get back, I'll show you what I've been working on in the cellar. I'll show you what I've been doing down in the cellar." And he says, "Keep this key at all times."
Yeah.
So then, So wait, that's flashback part 1. Is Eren as a little boy? Is him saying like, "I'll show you what's going on in the cellar." Flashback part 2 cuts to the scene again where we saw this in episode 2 or 3, where somewhere in the process of things, Eren's dad found Eren post walls being broken down, post all the somehow he finds him, and he hands him. This is where he hands him the key. And he says, "Keep this key at all times." It's
like wrapped around his hand. Too.
He says,
"It is vital that you keep this key.
It's vital that you keep this key at all times. Whenever you see it, let this thought flood that I must return to the cellar."
Yeah.
Or another word for cellar is basement, which is why we named the show Beyond the Basement.
Yeah, I think in a different translation is basement, which is where seceding the cellar is pretty good name for a podcast, but Beyond the Basement's a little.
Yeah, I'm going with that one. There is when we get to the episode, there's an episode called The Basement. So anyway,
there you go.
So then he says, then we see Grisha with a syringe. He's like kind of got some liquid in there. It's this real close up shot, and he says, "I'm going to give you something to make you forget for the time being." He says, "When the time comes, you must reclaim Wall Maria and head for the cellar. What I'm doing is for the best." And this is all playing out again. This is go back to, if you have to, which I would advise, go back to watch episode 2, where there's this brief cut where Eren's having this weird, he's in this dreamlike state, and he's like, Dad, what are you doing? And he has a syringe, and he has the key, and he's like, they're screaming in chaos or whatever. This is that same moment where we're getting a closer look at it.
But he wakes up from that scene, and Mikasa's like, Eren, you were dreaming. He's like, I was dreaming with my dad. And she's like, oh, it was just a dream. Well, we find out right now that Grisha says, I'm going to give you something that's going to make you forget all of this. That's why he couldn't remember what happened.
He didn't know he had the power to transform to a Titan. In fact, he's had it for the last several years because he was in cadet training. Like that, this moment that we're kind of flashing back to right now, that he's kind of just now getting his recollection of, happened shortly after the walls were broken through. So we're talking, it's been years since this happened. He hasn't remembered it, but he's recently just transformed into a Titan. And he sees the key, and it stirs all the memories of everything it's getting said of his father. Okay, so then he says, let's see, when time comes, we must proclaim Wall Maria, what I'm doing is for the best. He says, when the ability confuses you, let their memories act as your guide. Dang. We'll get to that in spoilers. The ability, presumably being his ability to become a Titan. He says, you won't have any memories for a while. And some more spoilers there. He says, one day the truth will come out, I swear to you. The journey will be painful, but it's yours to make. And these are, the last words we've heard from Grisha. And and Eren's just now remembering all this even happened.
You couldn't remember all of it beforehand because of whatever was in that syringe. And now he's just turned into a Titan for the first time, and all of a sudden the memories are coming back to guide him. And as he's hearing this, we snap from that flashback to Mikasa grabbing Eren, saying, let's get out of here, they're going to shoot us. And Eren says, wait, no. He begins to flip over her shoulder. He begins to move in between.
Before that happens, though.
What does he say?
Oh, that's right. I forgot
that's
the last
important.
Line. This is an important line. So as this, this is in sequence. He hears that. He hears the line,
the last thing.
Journey is painful, but it's yours to make. Then we cut back to reality, kind of not quite in the flashback, but in the moment. Eren in slow-mo is trying to jump in front of his friends. And this is as the coward guy, his hand is dropping in slow motion here. Then he drops this line. Here, read it.
He grabs, he says, Mikasa's life, Armin's life, everyone's life hinges on your being able to control this power. And then Eren grabs Mikasa and he grabs Armin.
Bites his own hand. Lightning strikes.
And then lightning.
You should recognize that sound from the beginning of this episode.
Oh, man.
Every episode, actually.
And then all these cannons are shooting, and we see a cloud of smoke. Did we get him?
We see the weird transform. We see this kind of sinew, skeleton, muscles
half
forming
muscle,
of
bone.
a Titan, half bones, and what the frick?
And Armin and Mikasa are inside the rib cage.
It's like a partially transformed Titan.
Yeah, there's this the explosion happens, big sound. We cut to Jean and the other cadets for a second. And Jean's
they all look up over the wall and they're like, what's happening
explosion
over there?
Happens. The smoke starts to clear, and we see the faces of all the shocked soldiers who say nothing, and except for is he dead? And the I think the bearded coward dude or whatever is like, is he dead? And then the smoke starts to clear, and you get the craziest screen cap. We need to.
It's like a one eye.
Yeah, he's one-eyed Willie.
Eren's got his eye on you.
He's got so we have a half transformed Titan,
but with his arm, he stopped
his left arm. Yes, is captured. Is the stop. And so we see this giant skeleton, and in the ribcage, kind of protected, our Armin and Mikasa. They're alive.
They look freaked out of their minds, though. They're both just like, what just happened to me?
And when you first watch the show, you're like, what just happened? What in the world?
What just happened? To be continued.
Gosh, man, what a great
and then, to be continued, ... Like,
this show is full of big reveals. And there were 9 episodes in. We've already had a couple of sort of big reveal. The main one being last episode that Eren's back.
Eren's a Titan.
You might have seen that one coming. I could see how you would make the connection as you start to see this Titan and so on and so forth. But this episode's another big reveal. Next episode's another big reveal. It happens continuously because this world is so big, and that's why the show is so awesome.
It's very complex. It's very good, and it is worth sticking with.
Yeah. So we have a lot of spoilers to get to. I'd like to get to them.
Let's do it.
So let's do it. This is your warning.
Spoiler alert.
10
spoiler
seconds.
alert.
First timers. you need to take your phone out of your pocket. You need to hit the pause button. And then you need to go watch much more episodes and eventually come back and just listen to the spoilers parts of the show.
Yeah.
Or there will be a playlist on YouTube of
reel.
just, the kind of spoiler parts of each episode.
Email us your questions.
Yes. Email us questions, concerns, comments, your own theories.
Like, subscribe.
beyondthebasementpodcast at gmail.com. You can find us, remember, on YouTube at youtube.com/beyondthebasementpodcast. Facebook.com/beyondthebasementpodcast. That's where we have a lot of other content and stuff happening. Facebook page. So come hang out with us there. Remember, we live broadcast this Sunday nights, which we may start doing some Saturdays, maybe.
Possibly.
You guys down?
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays, so weekends. When season 4 starts in earnest,
Oh, man.
whatever day of the week that is coming out,
We're going to be doing it.
we will do it that day. And we will do, the live reaction and all that jazz. So I'm really pumped for that. All right. So this is your warning. Put your phone down. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1.
Oh no, Pete took off his shirt. Look out.
Spoilers coming, and here we go.
It's getting serious.
Okay.
Dude, Hanji is the best character.
Dude, they do show her kicking some butt too.
Oh,
I don't
she's
think
great.
she even
Yeah,
talks
she's a
about
scout.
it.
She's
always
great,
been.
but she's crazy.
And
That's
she's
just-
like laughing maniacally the entire time
She's
that she's
just-
like slicing Titans.
She's hilarious and has always been herself. She was always been the Hanji that's like, I hope we bag an abnormal one. And like Levi's like giving it a hard time. Like,
You're
I'm pretty
out
sure
of your
you're an
mind.
abnormal one.
What's interesting about this, though, is we see a little bit of the mirroring between Mikasa, Armin, and
Yeah, the three characters.
between Erwin and Levi and Hanji.
Yeah.
One's really good, really physically gifted. One's really intelligent, really great at seeing things ahead, and one has this like drive to capture Titans. So
It's just they're different personalities, different people, but you're right. There's like a
There's a parallel.
they're the older kind of parallels. And then the spoiler part here is that
is actually a badass too.
is that Erwin being the like tactical guy, like the thinker guy or whatever, having his I would relate him more to Armin.
Yeah.
Erwin gives his life
That's what I'm saying.
ultimately. Yeah.
yeah.
For Armin.
For Armin.
replace
and
him.
it's amazing. Like again, that episode, I think about it all the time because I'm like, I would have saved Erwin still. I
still
love
think
you,
that was
Armin.
hashtag Erwin was the right choice.
I don't agree. That's all right.
If I
think
could go back-
I think Erwin made the right call because he says that he believed Armin could surpass him
And
in strategic ability, and I think he's right.
It goes with the theme of this episode. The hope is with the next generation, not the previous
Yeah.
generation.
Great point. That's very true. Yeah, that there's kind of like a passing of the torch that needs to happen in order
Yeah.
for this whole thing to get figured out.
But still, gosh,
Still.
Erwin.
I mean, I wish there was a way to save both of them.
Right?
That would have been ideal.
You know what would be a great way to save both of them is to kill those filthy freaking Titan shifters.
It's true.
We'll never forgive you.
Another spoiler moment or whatever. So this episode's about the left arm, and there may not be a connection here. I'm just positing this right now. Does Erwin lose his left or his right arm?
Oh, good
He
question.
does lose one of his arms. I think
I
it's
can't remember
his-
which one it
I
is.
think it's his left arm, but I'm not
Interesting.
100% sure about that.
So an interesting connection there as well.
Is that where Luke's hand gets cut off too?
Yep, it's the same. Yep, same moment. There you
All
go.
tied together.
All tied together.
Let's see here. I'm trying to get the stomach. So he's in the stomach, and he has the lines.
He already had. Well, he had the
Titan
lines
eyes.
before he got swallowed. Like
He was starting to form them.
when he hit the roof,
He got beat up. His
And-
body was trying to trigger,
and
like, hey,
his
it's time to go
his
Titan.
bones
Yeah.
were like breaking, and his one leg. Once his leg got chomped off, I think is when the
Yeah.
lines first appear.
And we
So-
know that it's only triggered because later on he's biting himself. It's only triggered. You can only convert into a Titan if you have if your mind is clear and you're focused on what your
It's
objective
sort
is.
of like a
Mhm.
skill that crosses in between. It's a skill and a power that crosses in between, like emotion and like
The will
inner
to survive.
world, also physical world. Like it's
Mhm.
such an interesting how you activate this thing. It's so
It's kind of a mystery.
It's
still.
a little mysterious and it's not super straightforward. And this is weird, but I'm like, it's kind of like a runner's high. So
Yeah.
if you've never to get the runner's high, you actually can't just you couldn't just go out today and get there. You also couldn't just go out today, run you couldn't go running for a couple of weeks and be like, oh yeah, I'm up to 2-3 miles or whatever and get there then either. It takes actually quite a bit of work. Your body has to You have to get
Transform.
into good enough shape where you can regularly get over 3, 4, 5 miles to get into that point. Once you get into that territory, even then, it like takes, depending on the body weight, is different. But at some point, so you have to have the willpower to keep going. Like that kind of exercise, like not a lot of people like to run. Like there's just so many barriers, basically. It's kind of like this complicated thing. However, like when you arrive at that moment and you're like, no, I'm going to press through, and then you get to the runner's high, you feel like you could run forever. It is it literally feels like, oh my gosh, there's no such thing as pain. Like everything's going to be okay. Like I'm optimistic and I could run from here to freaking Japan. Like I could just do it.
Run across the ocean.
And so it's just interesting because that's people have talked, I'm sure you've heard about it. Like people talk about the runner's high, but getting there takes a lot of work. It's sort of this like complicated thing. But when it does happen, it's pretty incredible.
But it makes sense because also in weightlifting, Arnold Schwarzenegger's famous quote, like bumping iron, and how like it was better than, being with a woman because like you get this feeling when you're like, you get a good like
this giant burst of testosterone. Yeah. You've done freaking crazy lifts.
You get a good pump going. Like you feel this great, strength, amazing. And it feels great, but you can't do it immediately. Mm-hmm. You feel terrible immediately. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like this story that we've been told all of our lives, which none of us want to believe, about delayed gratification, about instant gratification actually isn't that satisfying. But when you work really hard for something, because almost like we were made to overcome certain things, like we were made for the struggle. And if we work really hard and we overcome something, it's like the ultimate satisfaction of like, I have climbed this mountain. I have conquered. I have done this. I've run the 5 miles. Mm-hmm. I've pumped this insane amount of weight. I've worked really hard to get here. And now I get a benefit that I couldn't even understand 5 weeks ago. I couldn't even understand how great it would feel to run this, 10K or whatever it is. I couldn't even understand how great it feels to like put that extra weight on the rack, and like get those extra plates on there. I couldn't even understand how good it would feel to have a 20-year marriage, or like whatever it is. All these things, like people tell you like, hey, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Complicated getting there.
Yeah, whatever. I could never understand it, but like, no, there is the truth about delayed gratification, about working really hard for something, harvesting your own something, about that being way more satisfactory than anything else. And I think like what you're getting to is like, yeah, there's something true about that.
Eren taps into his power in a complicated way. I think we can all do that, even if it's not transferring into a Titan. So let's see, the stomach, the bodies. I'm trying to think. The marks on his face. Oh, he says, "I'll kill you all with my bare hands," which that's not really a spoiler, but like he literally does it immediately. He pops out of the Titan.
It's almost like he's reborn.
Yes,
out of Santa Claus Titan, because he definitely,
which.
Almost like a butterfly out of cocoon.
That Santa Claus Titan brought gifts that we didn't even know about.
We didn't even know. Another note on this. So Eren's in the belly of a Titan, not dead. So is somebody else, which means that when people get swallowed, they don't die immediately, but they kind of get consumed while they're in there. Yeah, horrible way to die. However, that also fills in the gap there. Like, well, why didn't... Because the whole idea is that the dumb Titans are just eating humans, hoping that they eat a shifter so they can themselves become like human again.
A Titan shifter, yeah.
Kind of this weird instinct that they have. But Eren's got eaten. He is a shifter. It doesn't happen right away. Just a curious piece of information. Maybe it takes hours.
Why doesn't he transform right away?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Santa Claus Titan guy, for all intents and purposes, fulfilled what he was trying to do. He ate a Titan shifter, so he should be the one to get the powers, but Eren's not dead.
We think he has to absorb the spinal fluid.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. So the person probably has to be dead and like kind of digested.
If he would have bitten the head off Eren, maybe he would have done it. But because he just bit the leg off and Eren jumped into his mouth... then he didn't die immediately. When he died and when his body would have degraded, we think that's when he would have...
the spinal fluid would have been what turned the other Titan guy back.
So he would have been a great Titan shifter, that Santa Claus Titan. With all these powers.
Some random guy. And who knows how long that guy's even been a Titan.
Yeah, who knows?
He obviously, it seems like the Santa Claus Titan obviously walked away from where he swallowed Eren, so there was some time that passed between when he got swallowed and when he
enough that Armin, nobody was around when it happened right away.
Nobody saw it happen.
Yeah. Okay. Move on to the next thing. Yeah, that's pretty much, that's where all the stuff is. I'm looking through my notes here. Yeah.
This is a great episode to go back and watch because we argued about this in our friend group for like a long time because we couldn't figure out, because they didn't actually tell you when Grisha shows up.
Yeah.
And we couldn't figure out. So we went back and we watched the second episode like again and again and again. And we're like, look at this, look at this. But this was actually the episode with the actual information we
The
needed.
answer to when his dad gave him the freaking key.
And why he couldn't remember, because he gives him something to make him forget, which we forgot.
Yeah.
We didn't remember that at all. We forgot there's all this cryptic prophecy in here. It's like, an Old Testament Bible story. Like it's for that day, but it's also for 2,000 years later. Like, it's really important because Grisha's telling him all these things that now us watching all 3 seasons, we know a lot about how they translate.
Specifically that line, Mikasa's life, Armin's life, everyone's life hinges on...
Okay, yeah. Wait, let's get to that 1 second. The first one I bring up is the key.
Okay.
So this is the motivation. This show has 2 goals, right? Any good show should be taking you somewhere, which is why sitcoms are so easy to watch, because you don't have to use your brain and think through an actual story. But a show like this, you are trying to get back to the basement, period. That is it. They take 9 episodes to get you their 9 like cliffhanger. It's a good show. They do an incredible job. But they've now established like, we're getting back. You need to get back to the basement, which explains a lot of Eren's motivations for the rest of the show. I have to help the scouts. I have to plug the walls. So we do eventually actually get back to the basement. And what's in there? Books and a photo, right? Seems like a little like anticlimactic.
Yeah, the payoff.
Except
I was expecting like this complicated laboratory and all these experiments going on.
There tunnels under
there would
the
be
wall,
like spinal fluid. There'd be like a suitcase full of spinal fluid or something.
They were making titans in the
yeah.
There'd be like Titan skeletons.
I thought it was going to be science books on Titans, like actual like treatise on like Titans, and I thought he had secret information about the Titans, and I thought he was going to reveal what I had imagined the whole time, which is that Titans are a war technology kind of gone awry, which kind of is. There's some truth in that, but anyway, eventually we do get to the basement. But the thing is that when we get to the basement, what we get is information that leads us beyond the walls, because that's when we start to get all that information.
And in the beginning, you don't even know that's your objective. You don't even know that this is what you're looking for.
Right.
You know, I want to get to the basement, but you don't know why you want to get to the basement.
You do want to get beyond the walls,
but later on, you get to the basement, you realize your whole frame of reference shifts, and you're like, oh, this is what I want to know about. The world
beyond. It's a war that's bigger than anything that you can imagine, and it's just crazy. They set this thing up like they didn't. It's just. This isn't willy nilly. Like they set this up beginning to end. They were planting seeds for this like epic journey here now with all of this like crazy flashback thing. So the key is super interesting. The fact that the key is like so important, and it's this. I totally forgot this part existed. The key is like an emotional reminder that the key is, in fact, the key is the object. It's almost like
the key is the key.
The key, yeah, exactly. The key that he gives him is like, hey, I'm putting this, like, I know, because he says in the flashback, I know you're going to forget a lot of this. Like, I'm sorry, it's going to erase your memory for a while. You'll forget a lot of my explanation here.
Yeah,
but
he does say that.
Here's this key, like, let it remind you when you see it. Let this thought like flood you, and it does. It works. Like Grisha seems to know, like, hey, if I give him this like physical item, like it can happen.
It'll help. And then he says, when you're confused about the power, let their memories
be your guide.
We think we think what he's talking about is the memories that he forgot with the injection. What he's really talking about is
memories.
All of the Titans.
Everybody who's held in this case, both the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan power, he has
all of the memories.
Those memories. And maybe, again, we have to go when we get back into the further seasons and kind of review this, but perhaps even the memories of Ymir, the original Titan, like kind of like who knows how many other people.
Yeah.
How many other memories
I suspect he's going to have all of them, because there's been several like artwork things throughout when they tell the story about the Founding Titan and all that. Even when they're reading through the book, they keep showing these images of lines of memory going into the Founding Titan from all of the Titans, from all the other 8
he probably
Titans.
possesses
so I'm
a lot of
sure
knowledge.
But it certainly
know
seems
everything.
that Eren doesn't have full access to these memories.
He definitely does not.
He has to keep touching certain people. He has to keep absorbing things.
That's right. When he touches
unlocked.
Historia, he remembers a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, which we haven't gotten all the way into that either. Like, why is it when he touches Historia? What's the exact story?
She has the Titan blood in her.
Same thing as Mikasa. Mikasa, does the Ackerman power kind of play into this? Because they can resist the memory loss thing.
She touches him, and he remembers. As soon as she grabs him, he remembers things.
Yeah.
When Historia grabs Eren?
No, when Mikasa grabs Eren and the key flies in front of his face, he starts remembering things.
Yeah.
And it seems like him touching certain people makes him remember and have knowledge of things.
There's a ton about memory stuff generally, because remember, one of the founding Titan powers is this weird ability to kind of wipe the memories of humans. I think specifically of Eldians, and kind of bizarre. But there's just so much. There's so much about forgetting and memory and all that stuff that goes on surrounding the Titan power.
Doesn't he have something happen when he touches the Titan that ate his mom too? Like when he makes contact with that Titan, he has...
Yeah, yes. Well, that's when his coordinate power kind of like
kicks in.
Is when he like touches it. So something about physical contact, memories, like it
makes him remember how to do. Or
again, ironically,
their memories guide him, and he knows how to do things.
When he touches the clown smiling Titan, it's actually his dad's first wife.
Who ate his dad's second wife.
But what I'm saying is like he connects. Like, I wonder if he ever knows. Like, anyway.
One day we'll put all the pieces together.
So let's see here. You want to have your memories for a while. One day the truth will come out, I swear to you. What does he mean by that? I'm assuming it's the truth about what's beyond the walls and the Titan shifting power. And because we know that the night he left was the night that he went and ate the founding Titan at the Rice's palace and all that stuff at the temple thing. Journey is painful, it's yours to make. Okay. This is what we're going to get to a second ago. Mikasa's life, Armin's life, hinges on your ability to control this power.
Which is the same thing that the owl says to him, to Grisha on the wall before he goes.
Mikasa and Armin.
And then he says, who are they?
Whose memories are these? I don't even know.
Whose memories are these? I don't even know. And so you mentioned this, so up to that point in the show where we meet the owl and stuff, we realize that the memories...
Whose name is also Eren.
Yeah, whose name is also Eren. We realize that the memories obviously go backwards, but there's sort of like future memories, like prophecies almost. That because Armin and Mikasa aren't even born yet when he says that. And then you mentioned this before, that Eren, who pre-having the Titan power even, the first episode is having memories, future memories. Like he's having dreams about what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And he said it felt like a dream that lasted forever. Mm-hmm. So I think... maybe something we could infer from this is that all Eldians have this blood. Remember, Ymir was all of the Titans, and then she split all of the Titans up, right? Mm-hmm. All the Eldians come from that, which means that somehow they're all connected into this like weird blood thing. Their spinal fluid, their blood, it's all important. And
maybe they have genetic memory.
They have some sort of genetic memory. There's this scientific reality about... certain species can store things in their genetics to teach the next generation to be afraid of the snake, be afraid of this, don't eat this.
Know how to migrate to where there's water.
Yeah. Because how does an animal right from birth just have all these things, these instincts built into them? It's this genetic memory type thing.
Yeah, which Eren has. I commented on this when he first transforms, and it happens. They show more of it here, where like Eren... transforms ability, he can do that at all. Amazing. Somehow it comes back from memory, but there's almost like an instinct to it. Yeah. His regenerating his hand.
He bites his hand. Without
it takes him another like long while until he's in that fight with Reiner before he can do that again.
Yeah.
Because he's not working on instinct like that. Yeah, he's trying to like relearn the skill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Titan, the hardening ability. There's just all this stuff the Attack Titan like can do that. He kind of has to
figure out
learn, but in like his first like burst, he seems to know.
Yeah, it's
a lot.
Like you're saying, there's a mix between instinct and intelligence, like figuring out like knowledge of it, and then also like feeling it and knowing it somewhere down deep. And those things, when you get them both together, work really well. We see that like in Annie.
And he's definitely less cognitively aware the first few times. Like he transforms, he's not. He doesn't really.
He can't really communicate.
Respond to communication super well. He doesn't look at people, but then later on, when Armin or Mikasa are on his shoulders, he's looking at them, and then they're talking to him, and he's letting them know that he understands what they're saying, and he has more control over his will and what he's doing.
He doesn't have any training, whereas Annie, Bertolt, Reiner clearly have.
They know what they're doing. They know the whole time
how to handle themselves physically as a human and to handle themselves in their Titan form. Yeah. So, also. Bertolt, Reiner, no compassion. You frickers. They planned it. They're like, oh, the scouts are gone.
They wait until the scouts leave before they do.
And then their
next thing.
Then they just luck out and realize that they have a shifter. That Eren is a shifter, and he's
they're
like
gonna stick with him and probably kidnap him somewhere along the line.
Ridiculous.
Just I noticed a fun parallel. Maybe not fun. That's the wrong word. But anyway, irrelevant. Levi says to the dying man, one of the things he says is, "I swear we'll destroy them all," is the same thing that Eren is always saying. So there's like a connection between the two of them, which I think is kind of cool. It was a nice little.
It's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Any other spoilers? You guys feeling?
I think that's all we got for now.
I think that's it for now.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you for sticking around for the spoiler parts of the show. Again, email us, beyondthebasementpodcast at gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. Kansas dropped some sick memes last time.
We got to repost those.
Pretty great.
We have like at least half a dozen you put on the page.
Oof.
So join the Facebook page, facebook.com/beyondthebasementpodcast. Go find us there.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the cool memes. Again, we live broadcast there. Right now it's Sunday nights, but anyway, we'll be posting what times we do that. Yeah, come join in the fun. Seriously. Oh yeah, YouTube channel. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel as well.
Like and subscribe.
Got a Patreon.
I imagine that the economy is in shambles, so none of you are going to want to do this. But if you've got $5 or $10 extra a month, you throw them our way, and we'll give you a little more fun, a little more bang for your buck behind the scenes.
We can help you forget some of the pain and suffering.
Yeah. Extra bonus, non-corona content.
But in general, we're here for you. So if you need something,
seriously,
you're struggling with something, let us know. Hit us up.
Yep.
We're more than just a podcast. Yeah.
All right.
Keep alive.
Let's clink them.
Social distance.
Social distancing for the win. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching and listening. If you're enjoying the show, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. If you're really loving it and you want some extra cool content, you can join our Patreon page over at patreon.com/beyondthebasementpodcast. Check the show notes or our social media pages for links to some really rad Attack on Titan merch. All right, guys. See you next time.